Hello everyone, it's Jama Malmi. Welcome back to another scrapbook process video. This is a special video because it's a collaboration with the creative design team. That's always a highlight of the month. And this month we are highlighting mothers. So we're going to be doing Mother's Day projects or celebrating mothers projects, and that is what I'm going to be doing today, is creating this layout celebrating me as a mother. So I've got these photos that I printed. I printed them as 2x2, and I went through my phone and selected all of the photos in my favorites of just me and one of my kiddos and added them to a new album. I think I'm going to do a separate video on how I do that because it's actually a really great way to organize your photos and decide what to use if you don't have them printed already. And especially some of these I did have printed, some of them I've already scrapbooked, but I wanted to print them at 2x2, so I had to have them all kind of together in an album. So I've decided on these ones because I want this to be the focal image with both of my kids, and then I tried to choose a photo of each of my kids at the various stages of life, 5 of each of them, because I know that they would count them and say, I have one more than you. And I'm scrapbooking myself, or scraplifting myself. I did this layout a couple of years ago, and I just really love how it turned out. I love the whole wreath concept and fitting the 2x2 photos. So I'm going to do something very similar, but different. And I'm going to try to fit 10 photos plus the one in the middle. I have this ledger paper that is from the In Full Bloom scrapbooking kit. And I thought that with all of the straight lines and that grid pattern, that it might be a nice contrast to the circular wreath I'm going to do. But just like in my inspiration layout, I wanted to have a border around it to sort of anchor the page. And because all of these photos are so bright and colorful, I wanted to definitely keep this neutral, so it's got just a little bit of the Lagoon blue lines, but the rest of it's pretty neutral and light, so I think that's going to work well. So I just want to decide on what I have as my background. I think this is even too colorful for all of my photos. I'll bring in a little bit of color with all of my embellishing. And this is also from the In Full Bloom kit. It's so beautiful, this In Full Bloom. I'll probably bring in some of the embellishments. But I think I like the green. I think it looks really good with this. But I think it's still not enough contrast. I'm liking the black. And the black is from the Mix-In collection. The Mix-In collection from Close to My Heart is designed to go with the paper packs that are current. So In Full Bloom, and then there's a really bright, vibrant, beautiful birthday kit as well. So I'm going to set those aside, and I think this is going to be my base page. So I'm going to cut this base page down, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So I've cut my base page down and gutted it out. I left 1 inch around the edges. I'm going to just tack it down to my Versamat so that it won't move, and then the Versamat will help me line things up as I get going on the layout. I just did a couple of corners, and then I'll show you at the end an easy way to get that stick off. I thought that it needed just a tiny bit of color around the edges of that ledger paper. I tried the green, it was a little too bright, so I went with just a very, very skinny, like 1/16 of an inch border of Lagoon. Now I'm playing with the stickers. I'm first thinking that I want the photos just like in that inspiration layout where the title's going to go in the top center. And then since I have 2 extra photos than I did in my inspiration layout, I decided that it really needs to go all the way around the wreath, and then I'll add this same title but somewhere else. So I'm going to stick it off there to the side. I'm going to add the photos all the way around at the top too, and then I'm going to bring in that center layout and realize that the title will look good with that there. I added a little bit of a border around that as well, and decided to add the title underneath the photo where I have a little more room, and I thought it looked nice and balanced there. I'm adding some anti-static powder to the back so that it doesn't have as much stick, because I'm not ready to quite commit to that, and I also am thinking I'm going to add on some 3D foam. I found this wreath in my extra Cricut cut pile from a layout that I never used it on. So I thought that that would be a good base for my wreath. A lot of it's going to be covered up, but that's okay. The white on the gray was a little bit bland and didn't pop too much. So I'm just using my Lagoon ink and a blender brush to add a little bit of color on. I just want it kind of around the edges, just like a really soft look to add some color. And I think that pops really nicely and looks perfect. Before I get going, I did decide to add some splatters with my charcoal shimmer brush. I do this a lot, but often it's an afterthought and I do it at the end of my layout, but especially since I have so many little photos on this, I didn't want to risk getting the shimmer on the photos, so I am glad I remembered to do it beforehand. So here we go, we've got everything arranged on there, and then I thought I would like the photos to have just a very small border to help them pop some more. So I tested that out and liked it. So I'm going to show you how I do it on this one. I use this small little paper trimmer, which is so handy to make sure I get those really small margins. Now that I've got all the photos in place, I'm going to start my embellishing. These leaves are from the In Full Bloom scrapbooking workshop, and you can see what comes in that workshop in a previous layout, and I will link that here for you. I thought that these leaves looked really good. It brings in that fern color that I thought looked good with the background of that bigger photo. And so I like how this does it just in small doses. So I'm scattering this color around the page evenly. And that's something I want to point out, is that when you have this many photos and there's so much color in the photos and so much going on, you want to be sure that your design is balanced so that they don't get lost. So that was the first thing I pointed out, is that I have a neutral background so that they pop off the background. And then another thing that I'm doing is making sure that all my embellishments are very balanced across the page. This is something I do in all of my layouts, but it's especially important when you have so much going on, because the balance really creates harmony and helps those photos to pop. So as I'm adding these stickers, I'm noticing that this blue one competes with the title too much, so I'm not using that. But I added that My World sticker in yellow, and I didn't have any other yellow on the page. So now I'm pulling in some yellow embellishments and making sure that I've got my visual triangles. I'm actually doing more than just 3 points. I'm going to make sure that there are visual triangles and that yellow is spread evenly across the page, because that helps your eye bounce around and make sure that you see all of these photos. These beautiful floral embellishments are also from the In Full Bloom scrapbooking workshop. That comes with some die cuts like you saw, and then these black pieces are from there. You can get these black pieces separately as well, and you'll see the package that they come in just a little bit. But these help to bring in that outline. So the outline of the layout is hard to see right now because of the Versamat. It blends in with the Versamat, but we've got that black outline, and then these black pieces are gonna just help make those little pops around the page to help draw your eye around the page even more. So we've got some subtle color, some pops of black, and that is really helping to balance everything out. If you're enjoying this process so far, I'd like to invite you to like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post a scrapbooking video every Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. I played with a few other embellishments, so I have those black hearts, and I didn't like the bigger ones, but I have these little chipboard or paperboard hearts that came on the same sheet as those black leaves, and those are gonna look nice scattered around the page. Looking back at this layout, I really liked that bigger heart up in the top left where I had it, but it didn't end up there. So I found this butterfly die cut. I liked where that ended up, and I'm going to add a couple more little tiny butterflies from the sticker sheet as well. So this sticker sheet has lots of small pieces, and that's what I'm going for on this layout as I'm embellishing. and making sure that I've got just these little pops of color, subtle color. Notice I'm not using the bright blue, I'm using more of the subtle blues. There's also these small hearts. There's some blue and yellow hearts, and so I scattered those around. I thought that those looked fun, scattered around the page. And then I'm also going to be adding some enamel dots and glitter gems to the page as well. It's going to be a little bit hard to see those as I add them, but you'll see close-ups at the end. Here's one of those little butterflies. I thought that looked really cute up in the corner. And then there's another butterfly on this page that I'm going to create a visual triangle with. So we've got the 3, and I just want to make sure that they are in a nice visual triangle and placed nicely. So I do have some 3D foam on the back of the title and also on the back of the bigger butterfly. I'm going to spare you all of the gluing. I'm just showing you I'm using this Barely Art glue, which I love because it's that really skinny tip and it never gets clogged. I love it. And so I'm also going to show you this little tip. Since I have these chipboard leaves around and some of them are tucked under the photos, I took some of the negative space from that package, from that die cut piece, and put it behind some of the other parts of the photo so that the photo is so that it's balanced, so it's not raised on one side and not the other. So it's sort of like adding 3D foam. So that's a good way to use the negative piece from the chipboard. You can even use it in place of 3D foam. So this rub and remove eraser is awesome for removing your stick. So that is what I'm doing to remove that glue from the back of those corners. And then I had this little stamped piece that says "You're the Best" from the In Full Bloom card making kit left over. Saw that in my stash and I thought it would be nice tucked there. That's going to wrap up this layout for now, but just wait to see how I add 14 more photos. So after I finished the layout, I realized a couple things. I have this whole stack of 2x2 photos that I had printed to choose from for the layout, and there's so many great pictures I wanted to include more. And I also forgot to use this stamp set that not only says mother, but it's got these really fun definitions: a person who loves unconditionally, maker and keeper of memories, finder of all things, someone who sees the best in her kids even when they drive her crazy. See also cheerleader, teacher, angel. And I thought that these were so fun, and I did want to include them in my layout and was kind of bummed I forgot. So I thought that I would add a Pocket Plus page to the insert of my album. I've decided what I'm going to do is on the right side I'm going to have a layout celebrating Dad, and so with pictures of my husband and our kids. And so I'm going to put these pocket cards with extra photos on this side, and then on the other side I'll put extra photos of him with the kids and his layout on the right side. So I'm going to show you how this is going to come together. First of all, I pulled out the pocket cards. They're called Picture My Life cards that coordinate with the paper collection I used, In Full Bloom. And I went through the 4x6 cards because I thought that those would work well to add these extra photos on. At first I was thinking I wanted to use these butterflies, but then I saw this, I really liked it. I thought that this was perfect because it's got the highlight reel, and this is a highlight of the photos of us. And then I saw this pocket card and I thought it worked better because it doesn't have so much blue in the background like this. So it's lighter, and these are going to be somewhat picture heavy. So I wanted a more airy, light and airy background for these photos. I'm going to start out with my stamping so I don't forget again. I'm using Archival Black ink because that's my favorite really dark, vibrant black, and I'm holding it down for just a moment on the paper so it has some time to soak in, and then using my stamp chamois to clean it. That little container that I keep my stamp chamois in is actually a salt holder, and the little lid closes and it's perfect for holding the chamois. I will link to it. It's from Amazon if you're interested. So I'm just going around the edges on this scrap piece of paper because that's going to be the easiest for me to trim those out. And with the magic of editing, they're all trimmed out and we are going to place these photos on the cards. So I was going through and trying to decide which photos to use, and there were so many good ones. I was really having a hard time narrowing it down. So I decided to just go really photo heavy and put 6 on each card. So a lot of the background is not going to show, and that's okay. So in this case, it really doesn't matter too much what you're using as your background. A little bit of it shows, so I like having the pretty pattern in the background, but you could just use white cardstock if you wanted. So on this kind of title page, I decided to add a little bit of inking with that same Lagoon ink underneath some of the photos and where that mother subtitle is going to go. And I like how that looks. I also inked around the edges just a tiny bit of the mother little banner flag. I added a few acrylic hearts to that page, and I also decided to add it to the top. And for all of the other pages, I did the collage of 6 photos, and I kind of tucked some underneath others and made them kind of cattywampus to add a little bit of interest. And then I incorporated some of those definitions as well. So here's a close-up of everything. I didn't put them in the page protector yet, just so you could see them without so much glare. I also decided to add a few Lagoon enamel dots from my stash, and I added some to the wreath as well. I thought that just gave the right touch of a brighter blue around the page and helped your eye go around the page even more. I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned a thing or two. I've got all the supplies I use linked down in the description below if you are interested, including those amazing Pocket Plus inserts. Don't forget to check out the rest of the Creative Design Team videos. They're not all up yet, but they will be, and what is up is on this playlist here on the left, and on the right I have a video that you might enjoy. Thanks for watching and have a great day.